the London Bridge Sports Medicine Podcast.
Medical news, health, fitness.
With Dr. AJ Seth.
Hi there. Welcome to LBSM's Ask the Expert series. We put the important questions to our experts to give you the latest tips in health and fitness. Today we talk to Maddie, a podiatrist and expert in gait and movement analysis. She tells us what's involved in a gait assessment and why it can be so important when recovering and preventing injury. If you feel you'd benefit from a gait assessment, please do get in touch to see how we can help. Hope you enjoy listening. Hello Maddie, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. Thank you so much for joining us. Just give the listeners a bit about yourself, actually. Tell us what you do and how you got into your field, if that's all right.
So, yeah, that's cool. I'm a musculoskeletal podiatrist, which is a specialty within the lower limb and mostly the foot and ankle. And I've taken my specialty towards biomechanics and sports injuries. So a lot of what I do is looking at how the feet and ankles are working in relation to the rest of the body, in relation to the knees, the hips and the back, and putting it all together really. So in clinic we do things like gait analysis walking and gait analysis running, and see different ways in which temporary measurements or custom measurements to help change forces and function and help symptoms really.
Brilliant. And you were an athlete yourself, weren't you, growing up?
Yeah. So I was very, very active from a very young age. Always interested in sports and exercise. Got involved in everything at school, and then had my specialty in hockey. So field hockey. Played a lot of club, county, and went to represent England as well. Right up until I was 21, which was amazing. Loved it. So I definitely understand the competitive nature of elite sport and the importance of looking after your body and listening to your body.
Yeah. And is that where your interest in sort of biomechanics and movement grew?
Yeah, definitely. I have had my fair share of injuries, that's for sure. And actually from a young age, a lot of foot and ankle injuries. I think the unstable nature of hockey as well just led me towards a lot of my foot problems, but also that led me to my biomechanical understanding because a lot of my foot problems were biomechanical in nature. So I saw podiatrists from a very young age. So I think probably had I not had my foot problems, I might have not known what podiatry was. It's such a little niche area that I think unless people are exposed to it, they sometimes don't know much about it, especially this sports and musculoskeletal side of it.
And that's very true. I think if you come from an elite sport background or you work in sport, you do get exposed to the higher ends of podiatric assessment and gait analysis and that kind of thing. But for most people, when they think of podiatry, they think of either chiropody, as in sorting out feet and bunions and corns and that sort of thing. They don't really think of the gait analysis or the biomechanics side of it. Do you think that's a fair misconception?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you looked at the podiatrists in the podiatry field right now, I'd say probably most are doing mostly the routine care, the chiropody type care, the nail surgery, the corns, the calluses, but it's such a growing field, and this musculoskeletal side is such an add-on to all of that as well, and it can work in conjunction because someone's corn and callus, there's going to be a reason for that. So likely a build-up of a callus is a biomechanical reason or a functional overloaded area. So it's all very much linked in, but it's also a totally different field if you're looking at it from a kind of elite sport performance enhancing development field as well.
That's brilliant. And I often send patients to you, Maddie, and that's the exact reason why. It's because they have an injury and then we're deciding, you know what, we can treat the injury. It might be a knee or a hip or even a back, but actually if there is a biomechanical issue, either running's not symmetrical or there's not ideal foot angles when you run, then actually we can treat the injury in the acute setting, but trying to make it sure it doesn't come back requires some input, doesn't it? And that's often where podiatric or podiatry specialists like yourself and doctors like myself work together well?
Absolutely. I think this multidisciplinary approach works so well for our patients, because often, particularly our athletes, want to have a bit of a longer term management for an injury which might reoccur or could come back in manifest in a different way. But actually understanding their mechanics, their foot function, their way, the walking, running, and simple measures that we can do to address certain anomalies can really help and really reduce down some symptoms.
I just give us a flavour of that. What might that look like? So if someone comes to see you, they want to get their gait assessed. What does that look like? How does that happen?
So someone will come in with either already a diagnosis, someone kindly like yourself to refer to me, and then from that diagnosis we'll look at ways in which this part of this symptomatic area of the foot, knee, hip, leg is manifesting. So what is it that's irritating? What's causing that pain? What makes it worse? Is there certain shoes that make it worse? So we'll have a big detailed discussion on symptom-led injuries and ways in which things come about, and then we'll do some biomechanical assessments. So we'll look at the muscles and the joints dynamically. So we'll get the patient standing and watching what happens when they stand. We'll also look at them on the couch and look at the movements and the quality of the movement of joints and the strength and weakness of muscles. And then we'll do a dynamic assessment of walking. So we'll do a video gait analysis. So I'll have a camera recording the patient walking from behind and side on and in front if possible, and then so we'll see them slow motion walking, and then we'll put them on their trainers if they're a runner, or doing certain movements that they're used to and dynamically. So get them running on a treadmill in a couple of different shoes if they've got a few shoes, if they've got a race shoe and then a everyday long run type shoe. We can assess them in both, and then from that, we'll kind of come up with a bit of a management plan. So some things that we might discuss are, so foot orthotics or foot orthoses. These are insoles of a shoe that is customized to a patient. So we take a mold of their foot or a scan of their foot to capture the natural anatomy of their foot positioning, send that capture to our laboratory, and then from that all the additions and prescriptions like you would get when you go to get your eyes tested. What I do is I adjust the ways in which a prescription is written for individual patients, and then the orthotic will come back about 3 weeks later, and then we'll fit them and go from there. But there's loads of other things that we can discuss, like footwear advice, different types of shoes, running shoes. We've got loads of temporary measures I use, so temporary orthotics as well as the custom ones, strapping, padding, little toe props that go in between the toes to help spread the toes and reduce some forefoot issues.
So it sounds quite complex, actually, in terms of all the different ways you can assess someone, and then all the little sort of interventions going forward. Is there any way patients can sort of assess themselves at home, or is it always best to come to someone like yourself for an expert opinion on their gait?
So I think you can pick things up yourself. You can do your own video analysis at home if you want. Obviously, if you go into some running shoe shops, in a way, pigeonhole you into foot type, which is slightly controversial anyway, but there are ways in which you can try things at home. So I think maintaining good strength and good flexibility of your feet and your hips and your knees and your ankles is really important generally for normal gait function and gait cycle movements. During lockdown, actually, but given the restrictions coming into clinics, we created a way in which you can do video consultations. So actually recording videos of yourself, if you have a partner or family member, to do videos of you walking to and from a camera, doing certain movements, standing barefoot, running in trainers, and then sending that in, and then from that we can kind of have a discussion online as an online consultation with all that data. So that was really effective from lockdown and has carried on throughout, and actually from that I've been able to see people further afield that wouldn't want to just come into London or Surrey. So there's definitely been positives from that.
Yeah, so people can be quite flexible and quite, you just need your basic equipment at home, and actually with that footage, you can tell quite a lot about your walking mechanics and running mechanics, which is
and just an iPhone camera has been sufficient for videoing. So it's been interesting,
and that's great. And the thing I really like is that all this tech is now accessible to everyday runners, everyday walkers, people who aren't even as physically active, but may have issues from a musculoskeletal point of view, and easy solutions with just a bit of tweaking of either footwear or how they walk or their biomechanics, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I think people are more active now than they have been in a very long time. I think given the lockdown, people are moving more, people are wearing different shoes, walking in the summer, and all of these different features can really affect foot and ankle pain. Typically, in the summer, coming into summer, we're wearing more sandals or Birkenstock type shoes.
Yeah.
And then that has its own complications in itself. So by the time summer actually comes around, different little niggles have picked up from a change in footwear and change in walking terrain and things like that. So, and then on conjunction to that, people are running more or cycling more or just getting outside and moving more. So I think it's an interesting last year for general musculoskeletal complaints.
Brilliant. Maddie, thank you so much. Just to finish on, give us your one top tip for someone who wants to learn a bit more about gait analysis or how motion analysis might be able to help them.
Oh gosh, where to start? I think have a listen to your body, listen to what feels right for you. Go out on a jog or a run and see how you feel. If you're getting any sort of niggles or any sort of regular complaints, or that big toe on your left foot is always a bit sore after your run, have a think and try and work out why. And if you've got any concerns or want an opinion, do get in touch, because it could be something that could be simply addressed with a change in your footwear or an intervention like orthotics, just to change forces and function, and that might be it for you. So I would say just listen to your body. Don't just ignore pain. Do listen to it.
Brilliant, Maddie. That is a great note to end on. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back. There's lots of other things we want to be chatting with you about, and we'll definitely have you back soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening to LBSM's Ask the Expert series. We really hope you enjoyed listening. If any of the topics discussed are relevant to you or you want to find out more, please get in touch by phone, email, social media, or visit our website. Thanks again, and see you soon.